Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Kira Heskey, and I'm the Associate Director of Learning Support at UAGC. I will be the host for this session, Future Proofing Student Success, Mastering Durable Skills for Higher Education and Beyond. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared with TLC-related materials. Microphones will be muted for this presentation, but we encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you'd like to use it, click on the live transcription button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Now, I would like to thank Bill Davis, Program Chair for the Forbes School of Business and Technology at UAGC, who brought this incredible panel together of UAGC experts to engage in this discussion. So thank you, Bill. As Advising Manager Kristi Hamilton would say, one team better together. Now I'm going to hand things over to Stephani Kilby, our Director of Student Success at UAGC.
Thank you, Kira, and thank you, Bill. This is a superstar panel, and I'm so honored and privileged to be a part of it. In my role as Director of Student Success at UAGC, I am focused day in and day out on the experience we create for our students and our responsibility to provide a high-quality education that includes not just a credential, but marketable skills to match. And it's my honor to be a part of this panel today as we explore durable skills and why they are especially important to consider through the lens of an open access institution. Now, before we get started, I'd like to invite everyone to join in the conversation. So bear with me while I share my screen. Throughout our discussion, we may ask you to engage with us in a variety of ways, both through the interactive platform you see on your screen, also within the chat function. So whether you have joined us through Zoom or through the Whova app, you should have chat available. And at this time, I'd like to ask you to join our first activity by either scanning the QR code on the screen or accessing it on your computer at the web address provided. It's up here at the top. So I'm going to give everybody just a moment to access
Stephani,
this.
I'm sorry. It's just saying that you have started screen sharing, but we are not able to see what you're sharing at this time. Maybe you could retry and load that.
Oh, apologies. Let me
okay.
see what I can do here. Well, for me, it just says that my screen share is loading. So that's okay. We're going to keep moving and I will work on getting that fixed for everybody. So we'll go ahead and work on getting our interactive engagement platform available to you. But in the meantime, I would just like to say that I'm very happy to have all of you here today with us. I'm excited for what the panel is about to share. Everybody brings a lot of perspective and experience with them. Oh, did it just pop up for me?
It did.
Okay, let's go back to it. So go ahead and scan that QR code. You can do that by holding your mobile phone camera up to your screen and it will pop up with an address that you can tap on. You also can join on your computer by going to ahaslides.com with the code you see here. So we'll give everybody just a moment to join. We're going to use this throughout our presentation, but what I'd like to do is do a test run. So we'll see if the screen share keeps working for us, but we're on day 3 of TLC. It has been an incredible conference so far. We have this session and a couple more to come. Share one word that comes to mind when you think about your experience at TLC. Inspired, yes, that's where I'm at today. My heart is fulfilling, enlightening. Oh, I love this so much. I will certainly be sharing this with our TLC hosts. Wonderful. Give it just a few more moments here and make sure everybody's able to get in. Oh, to my fellow presenters, doesn't this just make you excited to be a part of the session today as if we weren't already?
Yes.
All right. So we'll go ahead and move on into our presentation, but keep that phone handy. Don't log out of this platform quite yet because we will come back to it throughout our discussion. But for now, I would love to turn over the mic to my colleague and my friend, Matt Phillips, so that he can lead us through introductions and kick us off.
Thanks so much, Stephani. Fancy. I love it. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So we're super happy to see you. And we're excited to discuss durable skills, right? So I'll just restate the topic. Kira did it for us, but it's future-proofing student success, mastering durable skills for higher ed and beyond. This panel is comprised of various UAGC staff members and faculty, all who demonstrate a high degree of influence on student success at UAGC. We're going to offer you a highly collaborative, insightful discussion and analysis of how durable skills impact, influence, and encourage student success in the higher ed landscape. Stephanie said it. My name is Matt Phillips. I'm a Student Affairs Program Manager here at UAGC. I work across departments, collaborate with academic and faculty affairs, and I support many aspects of our student affairs technology and operations. I also work closely with our expert career services team, who I see here as well. So glad to say that. I'm going to ask the panelists to introduce themselves. Let's start with Kristi. Do you mind going first, Kristi?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Matt. So first and foremost, I'm really thankful for this experience, and it's been an honor to be part of this panel. My name is Kristi Hamilton, Student Advising Manager here at the University of Arizona Global Campus. I have been in higher education for the past 12 years and am truly passionate about empowering cross-departmental collaboration to foster student success.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Stephanie, we got you already. Let's jump to Nichole Salinas. Nichole, do you mind going?
Thank you, Matt. My name's Nichole Salinas, and I am a Director of Student Services at UAGC. I lead in both the advising and the reentry space. Now, I definitely am excited about this topic because I strive to make an impact on the student experience as well as student success. And I find how we can align with students' needs in and out of the classroom. I also have an educational background in counseling, which gives me a unique vantage point when it comes to emotional intelligence and human relationships. And I look forward to sharing a little bit more about that later.
Awesome. Thanks, Nichole. Yeah, I think we're going to find that a lot of the panelists here have very cross-functional experience. Let's jump to Nancy DeVore. Nancy, do you mind going next?
No, it would be my pleasure. My name is Nancy DeVore. I serve as UAGC's associate faculty member teaching undergraduate psychology with a specialty in industrial organizational psychology. This includes everything mental and emotional that goes on in the workplace. I love helping people experience new levels of curiosity, possibility, and potential. One of the main purposes of teaching is to make meaning. So I remind my students what's in it for them and how it serves their entire life beyond the degree. My personal mission, though, is to bridge the gap between online learning and real-world application.
Awesome. I love that. Meaning making. That's my favorite educational saying. Nina Woodard, do you mind introducing yourself?
Not at all. Thank you so much, Matt. So as Matt said, my name is Nina Woodard. I am associate faculty lecturer in the College Forbes School of Business and Technology. I teach the human resource management classes. I have almost a 50-year experience in human resource management, and I'm definitely an advocate for good practice and good care and a care of culture in HR, just like UAGC has been exhibiting in the last few years, but also being connected to the business and understanding how important having that business experience and knowledge really is. That's what I try to convey to my students and help my students, as Nancy shared, have some practical application for the things that we're learning in theory.
Thank you so much and for your vast experience bringing it to us today. We really appreciate it. Last but not least, Bill Davis, please give us your elevator speech, Bill.
Well, here we go. My name is Bill Davis, and I am a program chair in the Forbes School of Business and Technology here at the University of Arizona Global Campus. And I absolutely love being here. I love the fact that we are collaborating, and we're doing, that's a durable skill, by the way. And as we get together, we're communicating, we're leading. The one thing we're all doing is we're headed in a path toward empowering, enriching, supporting, graduating students, making this the best learning experience for students in our roles, and everyone's contributing. But the thing that excites me the most here is you can just look at this panel. Just a very diverse group. We all have specific roles, but we all care. We all get along, and I'm going to echo Kristi Hamilton's message right here, one team better together. So pleasure to be here.
Thanks, Bill. We appreciate you bringing us together. Thanks so much. I had some notes outlined here I was going to state, but I can cancel a lot of them off because people already stated them. So I appreciate that. I'll jump right into it. We're going to dig deeper into durable skills moving forward, but here's the basic definition. Durable skills are sometimes called soft skills or power skills. They are difficult to measure often, but we know from surveys with employers, okay, from academic research, and from our daily work that durable skills are in high demand, and they are difficult to find and demonstrate. Why are they important? A student, or dare I say, job candidate's ability to lead, influence, communicate, collaborate, adapt to situations, problem solve, prioritize tasks, practice critical thought, and have situational awareness are in high demand by employers and our economy, and I think our society at large. You'll leave today's presentation, okay? You'll leave today's presentation with a clear understanding of what durable skills are, why they're important, a set of strategies for how to integrate durable skills into your practice as an educator, and an understanding for how durable skills support, enhance, and encourage student success. You'll also have a ton of fun, I think. Let's get to the heart of durable skills right now. I'm going to pass the proverbial baton to our colleague Nancy, Dr. DeVore, to define and elaborate on durable skills. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll just take that baton and keep on going with this. Durable skills is a term that, as you mentioned, is referred to as soft skills, at least it formerly was. The literature, though, refers to these as skills by different names too. Durable is one of them, transferable, indispensable, power skills. The term durable skills is a very accurate descriptor because these skills aren't in the textbook. That's because they're experiential and they're based on human ability to relate and to make meaning, as we were talking about. And yesterday, Allison Reef, presenter and a session host for the TLC, mentioned that moving away from calling them soft skills was a really good idea because they're the basis for exponential success in the workplace, and it has more to do with empowerment towards success, and it really should be elevated above the description of soft skills to be something taken more seriously, for example. And I like that dial into accuracy in what we're seeing and what we're talking about today. The National Association of Colleges and Employers, also known as NACE, defines transferable skills as critical thinking, as you mentioned, Matt, teamwork, leadership, self-development, which is related to lifelong learning. A lot of students make the commitment to become lifelong learners, as many of us on this panel have. It addresses oral and written skills, equity and inclusion, information literacy, quantitative skills, all the human elements that contribute towards getting things done at a high level. So these are skills that support an entire lifetime, not just the next job role. And higher education provides this. A student may think, oh, my employer wants me to get this education so I can step into the next role, promotion, or the job I really want requires this degree. Therefore, I have to go through this process of a degree program as if it's some box to be checked off to advance to the next level, kind of like a video game. But the bigger picture, however, is that these durable skills apply to an entire lifetime of job experiences. And like you said, Matt, we're seeing post-pandemic job postings that list those durable skills in their postings. For example, just scanning Indeed for their posting board, I see more descriptions for great communication skills, being able to verbalize, thinking on your feet, being adaptable, being a self-starter. Well, what does that mean? You might think, well, I'm good at getting things started, but do you really know what the variables are if everything is new and constantly changing? So those are just some of the ways that durable skills relate to the here and now and why they're so important. So, you know, the employers are asking for the durable skills by name. So back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, I love a couple things. the mention of the word transferable, because I know we use that in career coaching a lot. And I think Dr. Reef's point about soft skill, the connotation of the word soft isn't as impactful as we need it to be when we talk about durable skills or power skills. So I like power much better, transferable as well. And then the only one thing I want to add to what you said is I love this idea around value. If you buy a car today, if you drive it off the lot, it's immediately worth $10,000 less or whatever. But, with durable skills, you develop those skills. I mean, the value of them increases as time goes on, right? So it's a really great investment in yourself, I think. I want to ask, so thanks for all that. I'm going to kick it to Stephani. I want to ask you a question, Stephani. So we're living in an increasingly globalized and technologically advanced world. How does the value of durable skills translate to this increasingly globalized world as it evolves?
That's such a huge question, Matt. I love it. Durable skills, I mean, you want to talk about the value in an increasingly globalized world, they're invaluable. And that's because they're able to help individuals thrive in an environment that is diverse, interconnected, rapidly changing. This is the world we live in, and this is how people will build successful careers. It's how we foster productive relationships. And ultimately, that's how we contribute to some of the very serious global challenges that we're facing. 30, 40, 50 years ago, people that were going to be working across geographical boundaries had to develop a very specific skill set to be able to support that work. Today, those boundaries are disappearing. They're all but gone because of our ability to connect. And so what remains, though, is that we really need to foster the communication skills. How do we communicate cross-culturally? How do we have global awareness for appropriate ways to build relationships and to avoid misunderstandings? How to innovate, how to have ethical awareness of the various groups that we're working with. So I guess what I believe is that they're invaluable, but there's an opportunity and there's a responsibility for all institutions, especially open access, to not just help students develop and hone these skills, but to understand why they're important, to help students present these skills to potential employers, to current employers, to those people that they're working with, because these skills are a strength. So when it comes to our job applications, our CVs, our interviews, how do we make sure that students can speak to the value of these power skills and how they will contribute to the environment today and the environment that's quickly coming when we talk about careers? It's one thing to have the skills, and it's quite another to be able to speak to them.
I love what you said, Stephani, about productive relationships. And it just, when you expand on that, and you talked about communication and how incredibly important it is for us to be multiculturally competent and understand that we're communicating in a wider network, right? How do we reach more people? How do we ensure that we're reaching people in the way that they need to be reached? And when you have an open access education, we also are expanding our network with students. So that's a really important piece that we need to be able to apply in the classroom as well. You brought up a lot of good points about how that also applies in our search for employment. And so I'd love to ask a question for you, Matt, in regards to just career services and how durable skills can kind of be looked at from that career services lens. So my question for you, Matt, is what are examples of the types of, or from a career services perspective, what would you say durable skills are?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to add on to what Stephani said earlier, but I think, and some of the career team is here from UAGC, so they probably have to add maybe in the chat here. But I think from a career services standpoint, when I think of durable skills, I think of skills that are essential for many professions and industries, right? That don't work in a specific silo. So, and I think of skills that can't be precisely measured in a quantitative way. There's a spectrum of mastery, I would say. And it's important for you to know that students, even though in programs of study within humanities or liberal arts, like they place minimal value on durable skills like emotional intelligence, adaptability, resiliency, critical thinking. They sometimes fail in their efforts to communicate these skills to employers. And during their studies to adequately self-reflect on the development of these skills, right? So we talk about metacognition. Are they thinking about these skills? The shortfall isn't always about understanding one has durable skills, but sometimes about the value one assigns to them. I'm not sure that's a great answer to your question, but there's a difference between those hard measurable skills and the soft skills. I don't want to say soft anymore. The power skills. Thanks, Ali Reef. The power skills that there's a spectrum of mastery on. I think it brings up another question. Nichole, what are the examples of the types of durable skills most sought after by hiring companies according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics?
That's a great question, Matt. And it is one that I definitely needed to dive deeper to understand, like, when we are doing our research and we're trying to prepare our students for what they're going to encounter when they step into the job market, what is it that, they're going to see? There's been a lot of research conducted out there. And so you want to make sure that you're looking at the right sources. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics concludes that problem solving, interpersonal skills, and communication are requirements to meet the demands of the job market. These are, the soft skills that you mentioned earlier, but really, like you said, they're power skills because that's what brings us together. And this is required from a range of professions, from an architect to a customer service professional. As you mentioned earlier, like, you're not seeing it in one space, you're seeing it everywhere. Employers are often using education and specific vocational preparation to assess an individual's level of preparation in meeting these skills because it's difficult to assess otherwise. So why do employers value interpersonal skills in the workplace? Like, when we ask that question, what is it that makes those skills important? According to one study in 2020, over 77% of all workers had jobs that required interaction with people and the general public. So you're working with people. That's why you need to be able to interact in an effective way. Strong people skills are what give individuals the confidence to listen, to communicate, and to relate to others. The Office of Disability Employment Policy, which is a division of the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, actually has a curriculum that they've developed, and it's focused on teaching these skills that they call workforce readiness skills, which I absolutely love because that's what it is. And they teach it to youth. Ages 14 to 21, including youth and youth with disabilities. The program is actually called Skills to Pay the Bills, Mastering Soft Skills for Workplace Success. And it focuses on these vital functions of communication, enthusiasm and attitude, teamwork, networking, problem solving, and critical thinking, and professionalism. So an emphasis on these skills early on sets the foundation for our youth to be successful in a higher education environment. So it's vital that higher ed programs continue to develop those skills in order to prepare these students for the workforce and what employers are emphasizing that they need in their companies. So I would like to pass it back over to you, Matt.
Yeah, I think, on the career side, I see the career team chiming in, and I promised myself I wouldn't look at the chat and like try to communicate, but I did that anyway. So now I'm a little bit, but anyway, they're chiming in, and I think they have some important points. According to NACE, employers state as late as 2022 into 2023, so I'm going to blow your mind. The most important durable skills are communication and critical thinking, right? According to employers, that's what they're saying. But there's a gap here. The same report states that employers see recent graduates as most proficient in technology, teamwork, and equity and inclusion. That sounds good. So they're most proficient in those things. And then they rate recent graduates as barely proficient in those durable skills. So students are, according to employers, barely proficient in that which they are most proficient. That seems like a problem to me. It's kind of interesting. So how do students practice metacognition around these skills, develop mastery, and most important, communicate their mastery of the durable skills to employers? Look, like we can list all sorts of durable skills and site surveys and talk about BLS and all these different, organizations. But the question is, can you communicate, and can you think critically? Most everything else falls beneath those two things: communicate, think critically. Yeah.
I love the simplicity in that, right? So thank you for sharing that. I mean, what an interesting, viewpoint on that. So you've kind of shared a little bit more about, what employers are needing, what they're looking for. Now, hard skills are measurable and soft skills are in high demand among hiring managers. That's what makes it difficult, right? To kind of look at what we're able to measure. Can you share with us a little bit more about the Handshake Career Management Program and LinkedIn?
Yeah, so the measurement piece is hard, right? And so whether or not students self-reflect, perform metacognition around it, and can adequately communicate their mastery. So Handshake overall is our career management platform where approved and vetted employers can reach out to our students directly, and alumni actually. For active students here at UAGC, we coach around adding hard and power skills to one's Handshake profile. So both. Students should enter Handshake and fill their profile, even if they're employed. So students, the profile is automatically private, right? But it's a great way for them to build that profile and see what they're proficient at, what skills they have. They can then make it public. So it starts private, it goes public if they want it to. We also coach students on optimizing a resume for specific job applications. This is where you see students, like, they start to get it, right? They're like, oh, it's asking for interpersonal communication. I have to put that on my resume if I have mastery in that. They understand I am a great communicator. I am a problem solver. I'm a critical thinker. Awesome. That needs to be on your resume if it's in the job description. And lastly, we encourage students to create and optimize a LinkedIn profile in much the same way they can do a resume. There are tools like JobScan that help with this. JobScan's free. There's a version that's free that's highly effective. It's jobscan.co people can go to. Or we can help with our premium account. The career coaches who are jumping in the chat have a premium account. And they do work with students directly on that. You're applying to this job? What actual resume are you using? Let's optimize this using JobScan. That's a service that we offer. And the cool thing about that is once a student does that one time, then they're like, oh, I get it. I'm starting to understand that I need to optimize each time. And sometimes things are called different names, like soft skills versus power skills versus transferable, right? But those are all synonyms. So then you're starting to recognize what these things that are being asked for actually are and that you have. So on the LinkedIn profile, sure, you need relevant technical skills, right, for your career occupation, but you also need relevant durable skills. It's not an option to put oral communication. It's a must. It's not an option to put written communication. It's a must. So yeah, that's my answer to that. Let's jump to some of these interpersonal skills on a more detailed level. Kristi, let's get you in here. Why do interpersonal skills matter?
Thank you so much, Matt. I absolutely love this question. Most of what we do in life, it requires us to interact with other people. To be successful in our jobs or having just meaningful relationships in general, it's critical that we can build these good working relationships and work well with others in a collaborative way. The act of communicating, both verbal and written, it helps us to be more connected with others. In fact, people who have strong communication skills are more likely to have those meaningful relationships, increase job satisfaction, and then also higher productivity. Communication is the fundamental skill upon which all human relation skills are built upon. Human relation skills are the capacity to really connect with others so that we can constructively collaborate and achieve those common goals. Some examples of human relation skills include cultural awareness, self-awareness, communication, of course, motivation, trust, conflict management, and acceptance. Therefore, people who have these strong communication and human relation skills, they can problem solve. They can positively manage their relationships with others. They can build trust and really maintain that cultural awareness, which is really, really important, especially in society today. These durable skills, they do play an important role in the way academic advisors interact with their students, whether that be by phone, email, text messaging, or live chat. These skills also impact the student's overall experience here at UAGC. In student services, we actually follow a service model that advisors implement into their student interactions. And the components of this model, they include engagement, which is establishing and maintaining an environment that encourages open dialogue, sharing, and even building rapport. Discovery, identifying specific motivation, needs, concerns, and goals, and then moving forward into advisement, providing a solution based on specific information that we discovered during the discovery phase. And then lastly, commitment, acting on an advised solution. Thank you so much for that question, Matt. I'm going to pass it on over to you, Nichole.
Yes, Kristi, I really loved your focus on just building relationships with people and how important it is that we know how to interact with one another. One of those places that's really critical is in leadership. We need to learn how to build relationships with our people, and we need to learn how to communicate effectively, right? And so a lot of times we talk about our leadership style. And I was curious from your perspective, can someone have more than one leadership style?
Yes, absolutely. I get this question a lot. So I've learned from my student advising management experience that people are the most receptive to a servant and daring leadership approach because they feel supported and heard. So to answer that question, yes, somebody can absolutely have more than one leadership style. They can combine, different leadership styles that really fit them and their team's needs, essentially. Strong leadership skills, they provide motivation, inspiration, and guidance when achieving goals. Who we are is how we lead, essentially. So self-awareness and self-love does matter. Additionally, a servant leader focuses on the well-being and growth of their people and the communities to which they belong to. And according to Brené Brown, daring leaders require brave work, tough conversations, and showing up with both kindness and compassion. Servant leadership is also about empowering our team, building that trust with them, acknowledging others' perspectives, offering support, and providing the coaching that they might need to meet their professional goals. Additionally, this leadership style, it involves our team in the decision-making process when appropriate, obviously, and builds a sense of community and belonging within that team. Some common characteristics of a daring leader is somebody who models and encourages self-compassion and empathy, celebrates milestones with their team as well as victories, sets boundaries, promotes commitment and shared purpose, makes contribution and takes appropriate risks, and cultivates a culture of belonging, inclusivity, and diverse perspectives. Overall, these impactful leadership skills, they influence productivity and performance by encouraging the growth of team members and setting goals and strategies that support the shared vision of both the team and the organization. Back to you. Back to you, Nichole. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kristi. What a great, way of just talking about so many different areas of leadership and how there's so many important places where you can modify and adapt and, customize your approach to meet the needs of your team members. I really loved hearing that. I would love to kind of switch gears a little bit, kind of an expansion on that as far as leadership and what we do, but kind of switching gears to critical thinking and problem solving, because that's a lot of what we do in leadership in order to really support our people, support the vision that we have as a group. So Matt, I'd love to actually bring that question to you. How would you define critical thinking and problem solving?
Yeah, thanks for the question. would love to define it myself, but I think NACE does a better job and a more accurate job. And Nancy, you brought up NACE earlier, so I'll turn to them. NACE defines critical thinking as identifying and responding to needs based on situational context and logical analysis of relevant information. So that's a rote definition, but how well can you look at a problem, challenge, or situation, clearly analyze it, and make enough sense of it to come to a decision about action? So in simple form, do you and or can you practice thinking? I had a professor, a history professor, she used to say, life is about making decisions and choosing directions. It's the same way in the workplace. So I always remember that. Make decisions, choose directions. You have to go somewhere, right? You have to do something. You can't, inaction is not an option. So critical thinking is related to that. Problem solving is related and informed by one's mastery of critical thinking, right? So many people ask others for answers without contemplating answers for themselves. How often has that happened to you? Critical thinkers, and this to me is really important, especially for an evolving organization. So critical thinkers look at problems optimistically, and they can devise strategies, solutions, and approaches. They always have a growth mindset. If you find yourself in a complaint mindset, the complaint is a tool of the ego, right? So the growth mindset is related to problem solving and critical thinking. You can't have those durable skills at the high end of that spectrum of mastery if you don't have a growth mindset, I believe. Whatever you want to call it. It could be called growth mindset or something else. Example, I'm in a UAGC group led right now by Stephani, wherein these two skills, critical thinking and problem solving, are actually the central directive for those in the group. Let's think about this challenge, this problem, or this opportunity. Not a problem. Opportunity is a better way to phrase it. Let's think about this opportunity and devise some solutions. Yeah, I hope that's a good answer, Nichole, and I'll kick it back to you.
No, I really appreciate that answer. I appreciate the reframing, right? There's a ability for us to reframe everything that we're looking at, and that shifts our perspective. So just like you said, challenges can be looked at as opportunities. And instead of, looking at the problems, we can look at solutions and we can have that growth mindset. So I really do appreciate that. That shift of word choice can really shift our perspective. I'd love to ask a question of you, Stephani. So as we're talking about, strong, durable skills, we also know that there's an influence in technology, and we can see technology advances every single year, actually probably every single day. So my question for you is, why do advances in technology increase the need for strong, durable skills? Specifically, given the need for a workforce that can adapt to rapidly changing job markets, evolving industries, and shifting job roles?
It's a great question, right? And I actually, before I give my answer, I'd like to turn to the audience. I'm going to try to, it's not letting me share my screen. Maybe, Kira, can you help me out with that? I'd like to ask the audience, though, to think about this. If you still have your polling platform up, take a look at the question on the screen. To what extent do you agree with this statement? Advances in technology increase the need for strong, durable skills. What do you think? Do we agree with that? There's the QR code again, hopefully is on the screen. I'm going to give it just a minute here. Awesome. So we're coming on a scale 1 through 5. We're coming in at a strong 4 with lots of 5s here at the end. Some thumbs up. Phew, I'm very glad to see that. Otherwise, that would make this an awkward transition because yes, technical advances increase the need for durable skills. And I will tell you why. They create opportunities and they disrupt industries. I really want to hammer that home. They create opportunities and they disrupt industries. So coming from somebody who loves to disrupt things, to get creative, somebody who loves to take advantage of an opportunity, these technological advances are key to building on these strengths. Durable skills enable people to learn, to adapt, to keep thriving, even when the circumstances around them are in flux. Durable skills, we've talked about this over and over, they're transferable. So as new and emerging industries take hold, new and emerging technologies, individuals already have the skills that'll help them be successful, even if their role maybe didn't exist 5 years ago. yesterday, the skills are still there. So when I think of the skills that are especially important based on changing technology, I think of things like adaptability, creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, problem solving. Matt, you talked about problem solving. And I really want to key in on challenges / opportunities. I think we need to be willing to embrace the things we overcome. Those are not things we should keep hidden. Those are things we should celebrate. We should say, hey, my path was not easy, but look at me, here I am. Would you rather have somebody who had like smooth sailing the whole way? How are they going to solve your problems? Come to me. I've got experience and I've been through it and I can show you the way. So these are skills that can be supported by technology, but that also keeps the human aspect in the mix. So there will always be a need for us. We just have to have those skills to adapt.
I love that. I also think, you know, it brings up questions of, we've had all these AI discussions over the past couple of years, and what about ethics, right? Someone's skilled in weighing opportunity versus the cons of a certain thing. So I love that too. So I think you brought this up earlier, Dr. DeVore, Nancy. What can you elaborate on whether durable skills actually, this is a two-parter. Let's do a two-parter. Elaborate on whether durable skills relate to adapting to change and emerging technology. So if you can elaborate on what Stephani said, and then like, where is the location where emerging leaders and students learn durable skills? Is it in the classroom or on the job? I'm guessing it's a combination, but I'd love to hear from you.
Well, thank you for that. And, you know, Stephani, I could just listen to you for hours. I love hearing how you focused on opportunity and disruption, and the focus being on the overcoming. That just really stands out to me. And I think it relates to what I want to say here about durable skills, because they do relate to both. One of the most valuable durable skills is an open mindset and a readiness to adapt. And given where we are on the timeline of history, we're really at a point where there's an infusion of change technologically and socially. As technology advances, a careful eye is really needed to ensure that it doesn't advance at the cost of durable skills. Hiring companies, they want to make sure that social skills are enhanced, not compromised. And durable skills can contribute to company commitments to inclusion and a culture of respect. The experience of belonging and trust that are really a unique human experience. And on the other hand, it's exciting to see how AI is being applied to so many ideas. It can be an opportunity and a disruption. And having the durable skills of an open mind, willingness to adapt, and not shy away from new technology, it will continue to be important to exploring what technology can do in the workplace and in life. So durable skills are a part of that discovery. I consulted at least to a dozen leading technology firms in Silicon Valley during the .com era, and every time a new product launch was initiated, the companies would look for ways to make their next generation releases more human-centric. Well, it hasn't changed. We still need that. That was always in direct conflict with engineering and sales. That same conflict exists today, only with more intensity. And the second part of your question, you were asking, where do we pick up on these durable skills? Where are they going to come from? Well, the general perception is that of students is that durable skills are learned in the classroom, but educators commonly assume that these are learned elsewhere, like in internships or volunteering or other student life activities that happen outside of our classroom. With the online adult learner, though, some are learning these skills on the job, in community volunteer work, with their family, in their own friend circles. It comes from everywhere. But the problem is this: we're relying on these outside experiences to the classroom, and it probably means that UAGC could have more of a role in guiding students towards expanding these durable skills. And I had a window into that yesterday when Bill presented an interactive part of a course that I think you were instrumental in developing, Matt. It just is a way to expand those durable skills in a more comprehensive way that they might not get in those outside sources. So much of leadership is about increasing one's own self-mastery and ability to have peripheral vision, as well as a future vision. Having the opportunity in classes to expand and refine durable skills, it just allows students to pause and see what's needed to adjust before they get to the finish line. This also relates to open access by changing the paradigm of thinking durable skills will be learned on the job or in the classroom, because it probably should be an integration of both experiences.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful to think about. So it's both, but I think you're right. It gets me thinking more deeply about some of these co-curricular offerings that you find on campus settings, but here as well in different types of mediums. Like, how can we build those out and make them more impactful for students or get more students involved? I think the question of relationships and how we relate leads us to emotional intelligence. Nichole, emotional intelligence is considered a key trait for successful leadership. Kristi mentioned a lot of this, but what can you tell us about emotional intelligence for emerging leaders?
This is definitely one of my favorite topics. I'm so appreciative of that question, Matt. And I do want to say, like, I have some takeaways from what Nancy just said that I feel like overlap, and that's that open mindset and that willingness to adapt. And the human experience. Thank you so much for focusing in on that, because definitely comes out when we talk about the topic of emotional intelligence. This is a topic that can also be known as EQ. So you might have heard it, referred to as that. But emotional intelligence, essentially, it allows people to appropriately respond to and influence the environment around them. As we mentioned many times earlier, people work with other people, and we need to think about what that looks like. EQ actually makes up about 85% of the skills needed to be an effective leader. And it can be broken down into 4 core areas, which are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. So if we focus in on self-awareness and we ask, like, what is that? Leaders must be aware of their own thoughts and feelings and how they impact others. When we think of, like, well, what does that look like? Research has shown that most people think they are self-aware, as much as 95% in some studies. But that same study said that only about 10 to 15% truly are. So it's definitely an area of opportunity. Leaders really must consistently seek feedback from their team members, their peers, and their leadership in order to improve that skill. Now, if we move on to self-management, how would we define that as it relates to EQ? Well, leaders play a vital role in supporting others through change and through stressful situations by modeling this themselves. So effective emotional regulation doesn't always mean that you have the perfect response right away. You don't want to put that type of pressure on yourself, because that's kind of impossible. We're humans. But it may require pausing and reflecting before you respond. And it often requires a leader to shift their mindset, which we talked about earlier, and maintain positivity even when challenges present themselves. It also means that understanding when showing a bit of emotion can be useful, and it's sometimes needed for both the leader and the team to feel a sense of belonging during a period of high stress. It really is all about balance, and the leader needs to be in control of that balance. Now, when we look at social awareness, this is important because this is the question of how do leaders ensure that they're paying attention to the emotions of others just as much as their own. We want to be able to lead with empathy because that builds trust and it promotes better communication with team members. It fosters that relationship that is based on understanding and understanding each other. Team members are more likely to share feedback with a leader if they feel as though they care. It's also vital to understand the dynamics of the team. A common phrase, reading the room, is a really good explanation of what a leader should be looking out for. What's happening in that space between my team members, and how do I help to support them? And I want to say this truly leans into our culture of care environment at UAGC. A leader with social awareness cares about the thoughts, the feelings, and the needs of their team, and therefore they pay attention. Lastly, I wanted to talk about relationship management. This skill leads us to something that's super vital because everything I mentioned earlier must come first because this is the skill that requires action, informed action. With this skill in mind, I would ask leaders, what impact do you have on the people around you? How do you inspire change? How do you influence others in their development? How do you coach in a way that leads to growth and motivation? And how do you mentor someone and develop future leaders? Emotional intelligence drives efficiency in our teams because it promotes a culture of collaboration, empathy, trust, and engagement. And emotional intelligence allows people to work with other people in an environment we truly want to work in. These are the skills we must promote in the classroom as they're desired in the workforce and truly vital to everyday life. So after kind of going through that topic, I did want to kind of transition. And I wanted to throw a question over to you, Kristi. So my question to you is, what benefits have you seen in mentoring and coaching students and employees?
That is a great question. So there's so many benefits. So today I'm just going to touch on the most common. But ultimately, the main benefit to mentoring and coaching is to help students and employees increase their performance, productivity, and even their self-confidence. That's really, really important. In fact, multiple studies show that mentoring and coaching increases loyalty and reduces turnover. And people see mentoring and coaching as important to their own professional development and their educational success. Additionally, mentors are often most helpful to new students and employees who are learning about their new learning environment in the role and need an expert, somebody who can really provide those knowledge, that skill set and experience to support them along their new journey. They also provide feedback and advice during a student's educational journey and during an employee's on-the-job training. So ultimately, mentoring also benefits the mentor by increasing their self-confidence, their self-awareness, as Nichole had just discussed, their leadership abilities, their communication skills, and then mastering the art of delivering feedback. And lastly, becoming an even better active listener. Thanks again, Nichole. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Kristi. What great points that you've made. I do want to move over to Nina because I'd love to hear your perspective on international skills in business because you have a vast knowledge of that. So can you share with us your perspective on broader meaning of durable skills in the workplace?
Thank you. Thank you so much for that question, Nichole. And I'm very excited to be a part of this panel. First of all, I'd like to say I haven't heard a single thing on this panel that isn't key or essential to durable skills and to helping build durable skills in our students and also in the way that we present ourselves in the classroom and in business as well. So there's every single speaker has added a piece of a very important quilt to the need for durable skills in the workplace. So thank you all for that. Internationally, it becomes really important to very simplify the idea of communication. So I'd like to start first of all by saying one of the key elements in my experience of being successful in business in a global environment is to recognize that diversity isn't really outside of us. Diversity is every single person that we know, including our brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and cousins, are unique individuals and different. We are all different. It doesn't matter what our background was, if we were all assimilated in the same way as we grew up. we are all different in the way that we mature and play out our lives and grow. So first of all, we have to embrace the idea that diversity isn't just looking outside of ourselves, but recognizing that we're different too, and that every single person that we're going to interact with requires us to approach them with dignity and respect, and understanding their difference and not judging it, but understanding why or asking why. So they always used to ask me when I was in India to teach them how to speak in American English. And I said, no, but what I will teach you to do is to understand and be understood. I will help you understand what you're hearing and help you be able to express yourself so that others can that you might be working with on a global stage can recognize what you're trying, the message that you're trying to share. And I think that is the message that I would leave in terms of business communication. And every single person here has used the word communication probably 10 times, except for Bill, because he hasn't spoken yet, but I'm sure he will. And don't oversimplify it. It is a huge bucket of skill. And it's not any one skill, it's many skills combined that make communication work. So it's not just what you can say. And when I think it was Stephani, and if I got that wrong, I apologize, but communication in the workplace is something that they're looking for. And that doesn't mean the person that always talks. It just means the person that has something valuable to say. And so it's not the loudest voice in the room, it's the voice that's making the most sense. And that, again, when you're working internationally, that's really where you have to look at yourself in the context of the content and where you are and what is important. And again, coming to your emotional intelligence conversation, to actually reading the room and seeing what's important in that environment. Communication is listening, and that is a great part of the activity of communicating. And I think oftentimes we're thinking of our answer and not listening to what the other person is really saying to us or absorbing that. When you're working internationally, you really have to focus on what are people saying to me. And just to share another quick example, in India, because I spent a lot of time in India, so a lot of my experience is based on Indian work culture. In India, when people are listening to you, they move their head like this, and it means that they hear you. It doesn't mean that they're saying yes to what you're saying, right? But oftentimes people interpret that as yes, and they don't dig any deeper into the communication process. Do you really understand me? What does that mean to you? Since I said this, what are you going to do differently than you were doing before? So recognizing, and this speaks to the open mindset or global mindset, if you want to put it in that context, and the need to really focus on what is happening in the environment around me, and then dig deeper so that you don't just lay things on top and turn around and walk away, especially if we're looking at global business, where a lot of the language and communication that we do in business is based on football, basketball, baseball analogies, and we use those explicitly when we're talking about business achievement and moving forward. And they really don't play in every cultural context if you're working outside the U.S., because other people play cricket and football is soccer. It's not American football. So being attuned to those kinds of things can also be very helpful, and recognizing the using business English. And I would say even writing in school and using academic voice and helping our students understand how important academic voice is in terms of being able to express yourself clearly can also be another building block for durable skills. So thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on that.
Thank you so much, Nina. We really appreciate that. And I know, Bill, we were going to kick it over to you to close this out, but thank you so much for throwing that link in the chat. Please, everyone, see Bill had shared an article that he wrote on exactly what we've been talking about today. Stephani, I don't know if you have anything else to share to close us out.
I mean, I will go ahead and let Bill close us out while I share my screen. And if you haven't already, pop in those final words on your takeaways today. All right, Bill, last thoughts?
Well, last thoughts, 30 seconds. How do I beat any of this? This is fantastic. And let me say, what everyone saw here today, you saw all of these durable skills in action, very dynamic panel. You saw communication, there was written communication. They planned this out. You see the things you're doing, you're engaged. There's teamwork, there's collaboration, there's critical thought, there's leadership. There's leaders here that are moving me, inspiring me, emotional intelligence, professionalism, work ethic, career management, right? We're making suggestions. We've got the folks from career services here, global intercultural diversity, embrace diversity. It comes in all shapes and sizes. No one has the same DNA. Keep adjusting, adapting. Listen, it was an absolute pleasure. Applause. Thank you, everyone. That was fantastic. Just fantastic.
Thank you. And I'll just do a quick plug for the survey that is in the chat. And I appreciate everyone coming to today's session. Wonderful presentation by all of you panelists. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your TLC, everybody. Take care.